The University of Washington dropped a bombshell on April 10th, 2023, and we need to talk about it. Welcome to News You Need to Know with Nicole. On April 10th, 2023, UW News published an article that the majority of the internet seems to be unaware of. In the article, Hannah Hickey shares details found within a research article published in Volume 9, Issue 4 of Science Advances on the 25th of January, 2023. Most notably, she announces the newly discovered seafloor seep on the Central Oregon segment of the Cascadia subduction zone. The feature was first discovered by author Brendan Phillip, who did the work as a UW graduate student and now works as a White House policy advisor. Hannah writes, a study led by the University of Washington discovered seeps of warm, chemically distinct liquid shooting up from the seafloor about 50 miles off Newport, Oregon. The paper, published January 25th in Science Advances, describes the unique underwater spring the researchers named Pythia's Oasis. Observations suggest the spring is sourced from water 2.5 miles beneath the seafloor at the plate boundary, regulating stress on the offshore fault. According to one of the co-authors of the research article published in Science Advances, Evan Solomon, a University of Washington associate professor of oceanography who studies seafloor geology, says, quote, "Water is coming out of the seafloor like a fire hose." He also added, quote, "That's something I've never seen and, to my knowledge, has not been observed before." Observations later determined that the leaking fluid was 16 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the surrounding seawater and coming directly up from the Cascadia megathrust, where temperatures are an estimated 300 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Loss of the fluid from the offshore megathrust interface through these strike-slip faults is important because it lowers the fluid pressure between the sediment particles and hence increases the friction between the oceanic and continental plates. All I heard was increased friction. Let's keep going. Solomon said, quote, "If the fluid pressure is high, there's less friction and the two plates can slip. If the fluid pressure is lower, the two plates will lock. That's when stress can build up." The Cascadia subduction zone is a region where two tectonic plates collide. The Juan de Fuca plate is being driven under the North American plate atop the continental U.S. Subduction systems, or areas where one tectonic plate slides over another, can produce the world's largest known earthquakes. For instance, the 2011 Tohoku earthquake that rocked Japan. Cascadia is seismically quiet compared to other subduction zones, but it's not completely inactive. Research does indicate that the fault ruptured a magnitude 9 event in 1700, roughly 30 times more powerful than the largest predicted San Andreas earthquake. Some of you may remember I had 2 dreams back in 2018 about a mega earthquake followed by a mega tsunami on the West Coast. If you're new here, make sure to check out my Dreams and Visions playlist to get caught up. While so many have been concerned about the San Andreas for years, I've been watching the Mendocino Triple Junction for 5 years now. I'm not a seismologist or a geologist, but I do believe it's possible that the Cascadia subduction zone could rupture first, triggering the Mendocino Triple Junction, causing a synchronized quake with the Cascadia subduction zone, the San Andreas, and the Juan de Fuca simultaneously. This scenario, which I've been watching for, was the first thing to come to my mind after reading both of these articles. The second was the phrase, "fountains of the great deep." In Genesis 7, verse 11, it is written, "In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that same day, all the fountains of the great deep burst open, and the windows and the floodgates of the heavens were opened." This discovery is so important. In the 24th chapter of the book of Matthew, Yeshua, Jesus, says, quote, "For the coming of the Son of Man, the Messiah, will be just like the days of Noah. For as in those days, before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the very day when Noah entered the ark, and they did not know or understand until the flood came and swept them all away. So will the coming of the Son of Man be." Yeshua told us that his coming will be just like the days of Noah. In the days of Noah, the fountains of the great deep were opened. Here we are, it's 2023, and we have a group of researchers who have published a research article in a scientific journal announcing an unprecedented discovery of water coming up out of the seafloor like a fire hose right on the Cascadia megathrust. That group of researchers could have named this seafloor seep anything. So why did they choose to name it Pythia's Oasis? Pythia was the name of the high priestess of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. Pythia's Oasis means the high priestess and giver of prophecy and advice of Apollo's temple, place of refuge. As I sit and film this video, it is in fact the second day of the second month of the biblical calendar year. In this very same month, thousands of years ago, Noah and his family entered the ark. God shut the door. And on the 17th day of this very same month, all those years ago, the unprecedented global flood began. Is this new discovery a sign of the times? Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, shalom.